Hello everyone, welcome to Agile Digest, and today we will be go a little deeper dive into understanding the conflict resolution primarily in Agile teams. So conflict resolution is not something that we can stop it. It will happen. We need to find a balance between healthy debates and unhealthy conflicts. So the key is not to avoid the conflict within the team, because conflict is not always bad. And there are many different types of conflict resolution. Earlier, many people you have mentioned that the videos are going too bigger. So this time we have splitted this entire video into 3 different episodes. The episode 1 that I will be covering today, where we'll be talking about the general principles of conflict, and then in the next one we will be talking about the approaches and techniques, which will be a little more detailed. And then in the third episodes we will be concluding it. We'll talking about the preventive measures, proactive activities that you can do, and some additional tips. So to understand these general principles, these are the key topics that we'll be talking about. What is conflict? Difference between healthy and productive dissents and unhealthy conflict. What is the impact of conflict? Discuss both the positive and negative effects of conflict on Scrum teams. Then Scrum values and conflict. How Scrum values like respect, transparency and courage can guide conflict resolution. And as a Scrum Master, even if you are an Agile coach, this will be one of the important area that you should be always focus into. Understand and what's the Scrum Master responsibility, or as a coach responsibility in conflict situation. Sometimes as a facilitator, sometimes as a coach, not as a decision maker, and all those areas. So what is conflict? When we talk about conflict, disagreement or clash of ideas, opinions and interest. That's a very high level. That's what conflict is. So what exactly the conflict is? In simple terms, it's a disagreement or clash of ideas, opinions or interest. It can arise from different perspectives, personalities or priorities within an Agile team. As I initially mentioned, that conflicts can be healthy debates or healthy dissents, and unhealthy conflicts. Let's quickly try to understand the key difference between that. So I'll talk about when we are looking into the healthy dissent, why we can treat a conflict as a healthy dissent. It focuses on the issues, not personalities. This means respectful debate where the goal is to find the best solution, not win an argument. Second one is encourage diverse perspective. Different viewpoints are welcomed and considered, leading to richer ideas and stronger decisions. And constructive and solution oriented. The energy is directed towards finding the common ground and moving towards collaborative. So these are the key benefits. If you are going into a conflicting situations, you can find out the positives part of that healthy. But your conflict can become unhealthy because there are possibilities the personal attacks and blame games can come up. So the focus shifts from the issue to attacking individuals and creating a toxic environment. Many times you see that there are lack of respect and open communication. So people will shut down communication breakdowns and hindering will become in progress. Sometimes it will be destructive and divisive. Instead of finding a solution, the conflict divides within the team, that hindering the collaboration. So we'll quickly look into an example of this. So example, imagine a disagreement about a sprint backlog. So how it can be a healthy dissent? If you look into that, team member respectfully debate the importance of features, considering different user needs and technical feasibility. Through a decision, they refine the backlog for the optimal result. But it can turn into unhealthy conflicts when one team member accuses another of incompetencies for their proposed feature. The conversation turns personal, communication will stop, and the backlog remains unstable. So that's a very high level of conflict. The key takeaway from this particular section is we need to understand the conflict itself isn't bad, but how we navigate it is crucial. Mary Poppendieck mentions Scrum team must learn to embrace conflict as a natural and healthy part of the process. Surprising conflict leads to hidden problems and ultimately failure. So by recognizing the sign of healthy dissent and unhealthy conflict, Scrum Master can foster a culture of respectful debates and collaboration, leading to a stronger, more effective teams. If you are already working as a Scrum Master or coach or on that role in your organization, what is your experience? So what are your experience with conflict in your Scrum teams? You can feel free to write it in the comment so that other people can learn from it. Share your thoughts and questions in the comments below, and let's keep the conversation going and learn from each other. Remember this conflict resolution as a skill, and we are here to learn from each other. You share your experience, I'll be sharing a couple of my experience over here. So stay tuned, we will be going forwards and talk about the next part of this impact of conflict. We already talked about what is conflict. Now what's the impact? Discuss both the positive and negative effects of conflict on Scrum teams. So believe it or not, conflict can have a positive effects on Scrum teams when managed effectively. A frustrated team stuck in conflict, they can turn to a team celebrating a breakthrough idea. But this will not happen automatically. You may need to do some activities. Number one, stimulates creativity and innovation. So diverse perspective clashing can lead to out-of-the-box solutions and new ideas, or improve communication and collaborations. Your conflict can lead to openly discuss and addressing disagreement that forces team to communicate clearly and actively listening and foster understanding of collaborations. You can also go for identifies and resolve hidden issues. So conflict can bring to light underlying problems that might have otherwise gone unnoticed, allowing for proactive solution and improve team dynamics, and strengthens team bonds. So successfully navigating challenges, conversations can build trust, respect, and empathy within the team. But if we don't handle this in this way, it may go in a reverse direction. In that case, you may see a successful team is converted into stressed and divided team. Why? Because of few of the areas where we are not addressing in the right way, like reduce productivity and morale. So constant tensions and arguments can hinder focus, enthusiasm, and ability to meet deadlines. Or team division and resentment. Unresolved conflicts can create fractions within the team, leading to resentment and breakdown in the collaboration. Sometimes, because of fear and avoidance of communication, people may become afraid to voice their opinions, leading to information silos and poor decision making. And burnout and stress. Dealing with constant conflict can be emotionally draining and leading to burnout and decreased individual well-being. So what we need to do, we cannot avoid the conflicts, but you need to make a balance between those positive conflict or negative conflict, or positive dissents with the negative conflict. Our goal is to finding the sweet spot. So what does this all mean? Conflict is a double-edged sword. It can be both a source of growth and a recipe of disaster. So the key lies in recognizing the sign of both positive and negative conflict and intervening proactively. So imagine a Scrum team struggling to define a user story. What will be your positive conflict? Healthy debate about user needs that lead to a more comprehensive and user-centric understanding. Where the negative conflict can be personal attacks and blame games that halt progress and create a toxic environment, right? Henrik Nieberg says, conflict is not always negative. It can be positive force for change if it is managed in a way that is open, respectful, and focus on finding common ground. Right? So what you need to do? Harness the positive potential of conflict while mitigating its negative impact by fostering an environment of open communication, respectful dialogue, and active listening. Scrum Master can help their teams navigate conflict effectively and reap its benefits for improved performance and team spirit. let's talk about, in your experience, how do you handle conflict in your Scrum team? Do you have any tips or experience to share? Over here, we all are trying to learn from each other. If you see there is something that you want to add in this, feel free to add it in the comment. We'll go into the next part where we'll talk about how this conflict is connected with the Scrum values, right? Respect, transparency, courage. So what are the Scrum values? There are 5 Scrum values we already know: respect, openness, commitment, focus, and courage. So let's talk about respect. So this is the cornerstone. Recognizing and appreciating each other's viewpoint regardless of agreement creates a safe space for open and honest communication, even during disagreement. What is openness and how it is connected with this conflicting situation? Openness brings up the transparency, and the information sharing are crucial. So openly discussing issues and concern early prevents them from festering and turning into major conflicts. How commitment is involved? Commitment, this goes beyond task. It's about commitment to the team and its success. So the shared goal encourages finding solution that benefits everyone, not just individual egos. The focus, staying focused on the issue at hand, not personalities or past grievances. Keep the conversation productive and avoids getting sidetracked. And finally, we'll go for courage. Having the courage to speak up those disagreements respectfully and challenge the status quo is essential. So suppressing concern or avoiding difficult conversation can lead to a larger problem later. Let's look into a couple of those examples on those values. So if I talk about respect, how respect can help. Let's look into this example. A team member disagrees with a proposed feature. Instead of personal attack, they respectfully share their concern and rationale, fostering a productive discussion. So this is what you should follow to avoid any kind of future conflicts. So right now we are just talking about one example of each values to avoid conflict in future. There can be many more. Let's look into openness. During a daily scrum, a team member mentions feeling overwhelmed with tasks. So the team openly discussed the workload and adjust the sprint backlog collaboratively. This is an open discussions. Commitment. After a heated discussion about a technical approach, the team remembers their commitment to delivering a high quality product. So they work together to find a solution that meets both technical requirements and user needs. Focus. During a sprint retrospective, the team identifies communication issues. So they focus on discussing the what and how to improve instead of assigning blame or rehashing old arguments. And finally, courage. Scrum Master observed the team member hesitating to share their concern due to a potential conflict. They encourage open communication and empower everyone to voice their opinion, fostering a culture of courage and honesty. That's a very high level of the Scrum values, how you can work on to prevent future conflict. Diana Lershan mentioned Scrum Master plays a crucial role in modeling and upholding team values by demonstrating active listening, respectful commitments, and a focus on finding win-win solutions. They can help team members adopt these values when navigating conflicts. By embodying these Scrum values, teams can transform even the most challenging disagreements into the opportunities for growth and improvement. Remember, conflict is inevitable, but now we handle it defines our success. You shared your opinion, your experience. What do you think? How do you use Scrum values in your teams to navigate conflicts? Share your experience and tips in the comments below. Let's keep the conversation going and learn from each other. We'll talk about as a Scrum Master role and responsibility in conflicting situation, as a facilitator, as a coach, not as a decision maker. Right? So what's our Scrum Master role? It's important to understand that the Scrum Master is not a judge or decision maker in conflicting situation. The primary responsibilities of a Scrum Master are facilitator, means create a safe space for open and respectful dialogues during this every events, ensuring everyone has a voice and feels heard. You will also act as a coach. You are the coach for the team. Guide individuals and team towards healthy conflict solutions, providing tools and techniques and effective communications and problem solving. This is what we will be talking about in our next episodes, where we will be talking about different tools and techniques that you can follow as a Scrum Master. And you are also as a process enforcer. Ensure the Scrum framework and its values are followed, preventing unfair advantage or escalation outside of established process. So how does the Scrum fulfill these roles? Here are some key activities and tools. Active listening. So deeply listen to understand each individual's perspective and concern without judgment. You can also ask powerful questions. Guide the conversation with open-ended questions that encourage reflections and understanding. Ground rules. Establish clear ground rules for respectful communication and collaborations during these conflicting discussions. And team building activities. Foster trust and communication with the team through team building exercises and activities. And retrospective, one of the key features. Use retrospectives to identify root causes of conflict and implement improvements to prevent future occurrences. We will talk about in more details of these activities with example in our episode 2, where we are just making the stage ready to go inside the conflicting resolution responsibilities. So while your Scrum Master plays a crucial role, it is important to remember you as a Scrum Master need to focus on the team. Ultimately, the goal is to empower team to resolve conflicting situations independently, and if needed, you can seek help. If conflict escalates beyond the team's ability to handle it, seeking external help from HR or conflict resolution specialist is crucial. We'll talk about these different activities in more details in our episode 2. Imagine a heated discussion during the sprint planning. So instead of taking sides or making decisions, the Scrum Master should act as a facilitator, guides the conversation, ensures everyone speaks, and helps identify the root cause. As a coach, you offer communication techniques and encourage respectful activity, how you can listen better and respond, and empowers the process, guides the team through finding a solution through promoting team ownerships. So what's the key takeaway? Scrum Master as a valuable conflict navigator. Diana Larson mentioned effective conflict resolution requires a combination of skills, from active listening and clear communication to conflict de-escalations or de-escalation techniques and problem-solving frameworks. Scrum Master play a vital role in developing these skills within the teams, empowering them to handle conflict constructively and independently. Scrum Master, as we mentioned, as a valuable conflict navigator, by understanding their roles as facilitator or coach or a process enforcer, Scrum Master can become valuable conflict navigator, guiding their team towards productive resolutions and a stronger, more collaborative environment. So let's hear it from you. How do you handle conflict as a Scrum Master? Share your experience and tips in the comments below. Let's support each other and grow together. Remember, conflict resolution is a skill and we are learning together. I may have explained something, you have something more, feel free to add. We will conclude this particular video over here, and what we will be doing next, we will be talking about the episode 2, approaches and techniques. So in approaches and techniques, we will be more going into active listening or facilitation skill, conflict resolution model, addressing different types of conflict and escalations and intervene. So this is what we will be going more details into working into these conflict resolutions. And that concludes our explorations of the general principle of conflict resolution in Scrum team. Remember, understanding this core principle is crucial for building a foundation where healthy and productive conflicts can be navigated and resolved effectively. But how do we put all those practices and techniques or models into place? Don't worry, subscribe our channel. You will get notified as and when we will publish our next episodes on all those techniques. We have already started working on it. Maybe by another 1 week it will be coming up. Stay tuned till that time. Have a wonderful day. Bye bye.